This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network.
Welcome to TVM Express. Today, the 20th day in the month of September 2025. I am Frederick O'Bonil, and today we have very important discussions to bring to you, to your hearing today, your listening pleasure. Of course, this program, this show has two segments. Of course, we'll start off with the first segment and we'll come back later for the second segment. But today we'll be looking at two very important topics. The first one having to do with the return of Fubara and the political structure back in Rivers State. And then the second segment will look at the fire incidents that went on a couple of days ago. But the first segment, let's go into that. And of course, we have a couple of guests that will, touch on some of the most important questions that we'll be asking today. But just to let you know, for the case of Rivers State, let's just give you a little preamble about the state of emergency that we've seen so far from Rivers State. It's not the first time that we're having state of emergency in Nigeria, because the first happened in the history of Nigeria's democratic setting in 1962 against the then government of the Western region with the leadership of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And there was some kind of political crisis in the region that led into some treasonable charges against Obafemi Awolowo and his associates. And then on May 18, 2004, under Olusegun Obasanjo, the then president of Nigeria, there was where he had to invoke Section 305 of the 99 Constitution, imposing a state of emergency in Plateau State, suspended the governor, the sitting governor as at the time, Joshua Dariye, and of course the members of the House of Assembly. Still under Obasanjo's regime, we had another state of emergency declared in 2006, and that was during in Ekiti State, I beg your pardon. And then fast forward to the time of Goodluck Jonathan in 2011. He declared a state of emergency in some local governments in a couple of states, Borno State and of course Plateau State. And then 2 years later in 2013, he had to go full blow, full throttle, of course declaring a full emergency in 3 states, in Borno, Adamawa, and of course in Yobe States. And now to 2025. March 18, 2025, President Bola Tinubu, yes, declared a state of emergency on Rivers State, suspended the sitting governor, Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, and of course the State House of Assembly for a period of 6 months. Now the basis for the emergency rule was as a result of persistent crisis and of course a catalogue of judicial findings of constitutional breaches against the sitting governor, talking about Governor Fubara. The declaration saw positions from political opponents, especially from political parties like the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, and of course the African Bar Association, the AFTBA, and a host of other organizations across the country. 6 months later, which is this month of September 2025, the governor, his deputy, and of course the House of Assembly have been recalled to their various offices after the expiration of the 6 months rule. So much drama preceding to the recall, but I'll leave all that to my guests that will be joining me up later. We will look at this critically and bring you the full details on all that. We'll go on a short break, and of course we'll bring our guests in the studio. Don't go nowhere.
Sometimes I feel lonely, when knelt and abandoned. Then I realize that you have a history of being faithful and never to fail. No matter what, I put my trust in you. The Lord will not fail me. The Lord will not fail me. No. The Lord will not fail. He will never fail. The Lord will not fail. You never fail, God. You never fail, God. So we put our trust in you, Lord.
Oh, dear. Though my life
has not been
without ups and downs,
sometimes I feel lonely, one out and abandoned. I realize
you
you
have
have a history
been faithful.
of being faithful.
You will never fail.
To fail,
No matter what,
no matter what,
my trust, I put my trust.
trust in you.
You can raise your hands and worship with us. The Lord will.
The Lord will not fail me. Yes. The Lord will not fail me, Lord. Yes, you never fail. You never fail, God.
The Lord will
The
not.
Lord will not fail.
Lift your hands and sing it again. The Lord will not fail. He will never fail. He will never lose. He will never lie. He will. The Lord will not fail. No matter what. No matter
My dear good people of Rivers State, you will recall that Rivers State was placed under a 6 months emergency rule declared by Mr. President, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, on the 18th of March 2025, following the intense political crisis in our state. It is without doubt that the 6 months had been enormously challenging for our dear state under the emergency rule. As your governor, I accepted to abide by the state of emergency declaration and choose to cooperate with Mr. President and the National Assembly, guided by my conviction that no sacrifice was too great.
Welcome once again to TVM Express, and like I told you earlier on, we'll be having a couple of guests, one via Zoom and of course one right here in the studios with us. I'd like to welcome my very first guest here in the studio, Barrister Festus Momo Esquire. He is a legal practitioner. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we are still talking about the return, yes, of the state structure, democratic structure in Rivers State, where the, they had to, the expiring date of the emergency rule came to a conclusion a couple of days ago, and it's been pump and whatever you want to call it in Rivers State. People are happy to see their sitting governor back, on seats. And of course, we will play the full clip of the state broadcast by the state governor, Governor Simi Fubara. Before you came on to the show, I just gave a preamble of a kind of walkthrough on the emergency rules that we've experienced since the democratic setting in Nigeria. Some might even be thinking that this thing just started maybe in this republic, beginning from 1999, the Obasanjo administration, like I pointed at earlier on. But we could see that this thing actually started from 1962. What's your take on this particular? I want you to just give a brief reaction to the, what's it called now, the emergency rule that we've seen in Nigeria. I mean, is it something that should be permitted in our democratic setting?
Yes.
Because they are citing the section 305.
Yes. I think that's where we have to work on the lacunas in our laws. What interpretation you give to section 305 is what comes to the fore. Now, it could be a case of toe fighting, and the president can declare a state of emergency because there is an imminent danger, there is going to be an invasion, the federation will be at war, or the public order will not be maintained. So these, when you look at the whole laws in the Constitution, Section 305, taking it down to subsection 3, paragraphs 1, 2, paragraphs A, B, C, D, and thereabout, you discover that it has all the powers to declare state of emergency. But what we are saying is, do you have to stretch your powers all this long? We know you have the powers, but there are other avenues you can bring in to make sure that these things are settled instead of declaring a state of emergency.
I'd like you to hold that thought now. The question I want to ask now, because yes, you might want to define, like you said, you have different definitions to that particular section of the Constitution. Fine, but the question many asked, especially the layman out there, will want to ask, was it really due? I mean, is it really due for the president to come and declare a state of emergency? From what we saw, it was just a tussle between two people. We'll come to that later, but it was just a tussle between two persons, and this person not wanting to answer to this person and all that. I will leave you to do all that later.
Okay.
But what we saw on ground, was it reason enough for the president to declare a state of emergency?
Now, from the general view and my opinion, it wasn't enough.
Good.
It was excessive from the part of the presidency, very excessive. You know, this is the kind of political shenanigans that we don't want to come into play in our democracy. Our democracy is quite young when you compare it with that of the U.S.
Is it okay? Yeah,
Yes,
to the other
compared
parts
to
of the
that
world.
of the U.S. Is quite young. But if we continue to allow this, because you have to bring in the warring parties. This was not about the whole state structure, just two persons. One is a minister, the other one is a governor, and the governor happens to be the number one citizen of his state. And now another person from somewhere is dictating. So you bring them as a father figure and say, okay, don't do this. But look at what the president did. He called a sitting governor. They wrote some things on a sheet of paper and said, this is how you run the government in favor of the man who is in Abuja. Nobody will subscribe to it.
But is there any document or video or whatever to portray that thing you just said now?
Well,
because, like you said, is your opinion.
Yes.
Because I've not come across anywhere where it was boldly shown to the world that this is what the president, gave the governor of Rivers State to follow.
There may be no documents because some of these things they know are illegal, but somehow these things come to play.
Okay.
That's why we don't recognize godfatherism in our constitution or any law, any statute in Nigeria. But when you check the meaning of godfatherism, in bracket Nigeria, it's a form of corruption wherein one with influence raises another one without influence and tries to dictate to the person, maybe in political corridors, this is what you must do, this is what. So it's a form of corruption. That's what has come to play in Rivers State just now.
Okay. So let me ask you basically now your own take on this, end of the 6-month emergency rule and the return of the governor back to the state.
Yes, I'm happy for the governor. I'm happy for the people of Rivers State. I have people there, I have friends there. Because when the 6 months that just passed, we could see that the man there, Ibas, was not answerable to the people. He was answerable to Abuja. The people, they dividend, because Ibas cannot really tell us what he did within 6 months.
But the truth of the matter is, Ibas, should he be answerable to the people? Because the people were not the ones that actually put him there. They should be answerable to who put him there.
Yes. Now, what I'm saying is, you declared a state of emergency because there was, you consider the people a breakdown of public order and public safety. No, you told us. You did not tell us it was a breakdown of security against one man in Abuja. It was the people of Rivers State for crying out loud. So now the people felt disconnected. Now that the connection has come, peace has been restored, the warring parties, they are shielding their swords now. I'm very happy because it will amount for progress in that state, as it were.
Okay.
So that's the way I look at it. I'm very happy for Governor Fubara. No matter what transpired, I'm happy that the state is taking off.
Okay, I know I asked this question while we were having the preambles and all that, but I just want to have your thoughts on it again. You know, many view this state of emergency as very unconstitutional. Thank God you are a legal practitioner. So from the legal angle, was this justifiable, the state of emergency?
You know, when we sample public opinions, it reads differently. But when you look at the law, you discover that these politicians, these people, they have the backings of the law. Now, Section 305 of the Constitution, it clearly gives the powers to the...
Controversial 305.
Yes. It clearly gives the powers to the president to declare a state of emergency. Now, we see a situation where in Section 305, sub 3,
Okay.
now it said when the federation is at war. Now, the federation was not at war.
At all.
Where there's likely to be an invasion. There was nothing like that.
There wasn't anything.
Now, where there is a total breakdown of public order, then public safety in the federation or any part therein, they can bring in the measures. Now, the D aspect that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu relied on is that if they perceive this present situation like that, oh, I'm seeing that there will be an imminent danger. Oh, there will be a breakdown of state structure, law and order. Whether he played into their, Fubara played into their hands or not, that's not the business. But the Constitution is clear that he can declare a state of emergency to bring about the safety of these things.
And you know, the president pinpointed during his statewide broadcast, he also pointed out that the governor, the sitting governor, could not handle what was perceived as, you know, him using whatever, the youths, whatever kind of youths now, militants, blah, 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 to hijack the, you know, oil facilities in River State. That was one angle he looked at. Maybe that's where he looked from that deep part you talked about.
Of course. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Now, when you try to sabotage the economic structure of a nation,
Exactly.
everybody will come at you. So now, whether it was Fubara or the other warring members that did whatever they did, the president had a right for this not to continue. The president had the right to declare a state of emergency. For that, I'm not a fan of the president, but for that, he had to declare it for the safety of people, to bring about public order. So that was what he did, and I encourage it. Look at now, normalcy has returned. No matter the price that was paid. Yes, because we are going to look at, we still look at the areas of the price, what was paid for this thing to return. You could see Fubara, if you look at the broadcast, you could see that Fubara, as it were, is not a joyous man, a happy person just now. But when the day it was lifted, you see Fubara everywhere with Wiki, was whimsical, they were happy, funful. But from the broadcast, you will see that it's a man that is high, his hands are tied. He doesn't know what to do.
Okay. So are you now saying that the emergency rule wasn't really a waste of time, that it brought about the stability during this Ibaz, in quote, reign, you know, under 6 months or in 6 months in River State? Do you, because I think I overheard you now saying, you know, there's normalcy now in the state. Is it as a result of the governor coming back, or it was achieved during the time of the sole administrator?
Yes, it was achieved during the 6 months emergency rule by the sole administrator. Because when we heard of the first blast the pipeline, we were expecting more. Because even the judges in this Aziz, they were saying they will do more. We will do this, we can, you know. But when Ibas came on board, we did not hear anything. What they did was fixed and all that. So it brought about peace. But now the president also had the prerogative to lift the state of emergency after 2 days, after 10 days. Now they declared 6 months, 6 whole months. In my view, I see that 6 months as a way to bring about state capture, which we see in this process.
When you say state capture, can you elaborate?
Yes, like what is happening now in the South region, the 2027 election is coming.
That's the angle you're going.
Yes, so that is where I'm going.
So you think the ruling party, as it were, use this to kind of indirectly capture Rivers State?
Exactly.
Because Rivers State is referred to as the PDP state.
Of course. We can see that even in Aziz. So that is what they achieved within these 6 months. Because you would have been able to say after 2 days, okay, I have talked to the warring parties and we are able to restore peace. You go back. After 10 days, we are able. We had this fear that the House of Assembly, the House of Reps now, will now increase the 6 months because it's provided for in the same constitution. That before the 6 months ends, you can now extend it for the state of emergency to continue. Thank God it didn't happen like that. Everybody has gone back to their normal position. We're all smiling. So this is my take.
All right, if you just joined us, this is TVM Express. Today is Saturday, the 20th of September 2025, and we are talking on the return to normalcy, as it were, the political structure, democratic structure in Rivers State. Rivers State Governor Fubara, his deputy, and the State House of Assembly have all resumed or been recalled after the expiration of the state of emergency that was declared 6 months ago by President Bola Tinubu. And here, right here in the studios with me, I still have Barrister Festus Momo, Esquire. He's a legal practitioner, and we've been having a beautiful conversation right here. All right, I'll ask the barrister some few more questions and still see if we have our guests from through Zoom. If he's ready, we'll also let you know. But let's still have this conversation with Barrister Momo here. So, I want to ask, is done and dusted, yes, the emergency rule. What lessons do you think can be learned, you know, from, especially from the political crisis, you know, and that led to the imposition of the emergency rule? What can we really learn? What have the oppositions learned? Because during the statewide broadcast by the state governor, when he made the broadcast, there was somewhere he said lessons learned, you know, and we'll go deep into that, what he actually said. Some other stuff he talked about, relationship between him and the president, between him and the minister of the FCT and all that. We'll talk about that one later. But what lessons can be learned from this impasse?
Well, for the nation, there's not much to be learned. But on Fubara's side, I think he has learned that he shouldn't fight early when he does not have the wings, the strength. It's not battle ready for any fight. Like what people say, general public opinion is that he started the fight too early. Of course, you wanted to bring about change, but somebody once said that the way that brings you to an exalted position or to be called an excellency must be excellent. Now, we see during the elections how Fubara came in.
Yeah.
He was even not the choice of some persons.
Yes.
but he was handpicked. That's where godfatherism comes in. And people are saying, if there was an agreement, he should honor it. But I'm not of that school of thought, because any agreement done at the detriment of the people that you govern is corruption. So Fubara has learned now not to fight early, not to bite the finger that fits him. And also, he has also learned that you must let some things slide. Because I'm very sure if he was...
At the detriment of the state?
Well, he knew all of these things before he entered. They told him to come feast at a table where devils feast, and he entered. He knew what he was getting into. All of a sudden, he started fighting.
He wanted to play the hero.
Yeah, of course. He wanted to make the people look at him as if the other man wasn't doing well. At some point, I praised the FCT minister when I saw laudable infrastructural development in Rivers State when he was governor. But for our democracy to thrive, strive, and become perfect, we can't continue like this. Like holding Lagos to ransom, for instance. You are holding Rivers State to ransom now. And it will continue. I tell people that this kind of emergency rule and what is happening in Rivers State is a dangerous precedent. Our democracy is nosediving, and we are looking at it.
I like the point where you referred Lagos. I know you didn't want to go deep into that, but I think it was that same period we had drama in the State House of Assembly in Lagos State. So with what was going on there, as a legal practitioner, let me just diverge a little. Didn't you see any reason why there should have been a state of emergency there?
Of course.
So why didn't that happen?
No, it can't happen because
the state governor handled it?
He didn't handle it.
He didn't handle it. It was the president that came in as well.
Because he came in, he saw this as a father figure. Because the man that was against the governor was on the side of the president.
Oh.
Of course. So that is for another day. But we saw what transpired. Now there are states where you need a state of emergency, where you have insurgency, herders and farmers clashes. Now you look at Benue State where people are killed, activists going there to tell the nation this is what is happening in Benue State, and a state of emergency has not been declared in such states. But here you have a situation of two fighting, and you just declare a state of emergency. That's why people are no longer looking at the Constitution. They are saying, no, this was excessive on the part of the president. You should have, for instance, if the FCT minister was the one still in power, he would not allow something like this. He wouldn't. I know him so much. He wouldn't.
Now, residents in Rivers State will want to argue with you a little, you know, because when Wike was governor of Rivers State, some of us who were in Rivers then knew what he did to the former governor, the previous one, talking about Amechi. There was war between the two of them. But it never has escalated to the point where there was now a state of people were killed and maimed during that period.
Of course.
Yeah, but there was nothing like state of emergency declared in Rivers State.
Yeah. Okay, now.
So what's your take on that particular one?
That was a different scenario. You know why? In this particular one involving Fubara, the presidency was biased. An umpire that sided the FCT minister. We saw all of this.
Okay. I just wanted to get that point from you. Let's move on, because if we have to dwell on all this, we won't leave the studio now. We are going to look at the relationship between the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, and of course the sitting governor of Rivers State. The question I want to ask is, what do you expect the relationship now to be between the pair?
Yeah, don't be surprised. It's not going to be cold because it's politics is a game of interest. Yes, no matter whose horse is God, politics is a game of interest. Now, the only thing Wiki wants from Fubara is loyalty. And if he gets it, it's enough to solve whatever has happened before. You saw them when they came in. You saw the whimsical attitude and everything. You will be surprised. These guys, were they ever at war? Wiki showing him certain things. Were they ever at war? So this time around, Wiki has his structure back. Wiki has his state back. And I'm very sure that...
You're sounding like Wiki is the governor of the state.
That is how it is.
But the
reality,
governor of the state is Sim Fubara.
Now, the same...
But the way you are sounding, you know, the layman out there will just think that it is Wiki that is the governor.
Because even the layman now understands the politics of Nigeria. We see that it is the voice of Jacob and the hand of
Esau. Exactly. Exactly.
So that's what he's playing. So it is an indirect third term of the FCT minister, as it is now. The hands of Fubara tied. He can't do anything. Now we will have those antagonizing him in the House of Assembly of the state, the local government election that was conducted by a sole administrator. We have not come to that yet. The illegality of that election, a sham election, done in the name of elections. You see the reason why NBA moved its conference this year to Enugu. Said we can't support an illegality. We cannot. Because if that conference was still held there, they would say, oh, the body of lawyers, they're in support. But we see that this is an illegality. Though the Constitution backs it, but we know the root of this illegality.
All right, quickly, you touched on Fubara probably being limited to serving the people of Rivers State.
Yes.
My question now boils down to the genesis of this whole issue. We knew, you know, that there was like, how will I put it, an agreement, a kind of agreement between, because you said earlier on that he knew what he was going into.
Exactly.
Come down with the devil.
Yes.
And you knew about it and you went into it. So there must have been an agreement between the pair. So from the look of things, as he has returned to the government house, talking about Fubara, will he be able to govern freely? Or as the governor of the state now, freely, independently? Or will he go back to the dictates of the FCT minister?
From the look of things now, Governor Fubara is almost a puppet, controlled by a puppeteer. There are people who pay the piper. They are the ones that will dictate the tune for Fubara. He will dictate it. Because now he has to go back to the earlier agreements that I'm very sure even Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not part of. He will fulfill those now. Everything must be checked. So anything the FCT minister demands of him, he will do it as it is. He cannot govern freely. The only thing Fubara can do now is to leave a legacy in the hearts of those in Rivers State. If there is a project he wants to consolidate on or do, he should do it swiftly, because his return may be in jeopardy. Second term return. We are not even sure of it, because we are hearing from some quarters, those flying here and there, that is part of the agreement, he should not return. But we don't know if he's seeking a second term after now.
And that goes to my next question now about loyalty.
Yes.
With what has happened, him returning and the likelihood of him not coming for a second term, you know, what will this thing do concerning loyalty? Because while the crisis was going on, he had his own lawyers, just like what's it called, Wike had his own followers.
Yes.
But with this, would you say it's like a loss for Fubara or a win situation for him?
Well,
Because, I mean, in relation to, his loyalists now for him, like you said, from different quarters we are hearing, we are hearing whispering that this guy might not come second term. So if he's not coming the second tenure, would he have enough followers? What would these followers be doing? Would they be decamping as well?
Well, as it stands now, you see very quickly a wave of defection in Rivers State very soon. And I'm also thinking that just to preserve the party name, Fubara may just be in PDP, but acting just like his boss. We see Wike is in PDP, but he's more in APC, and nobody can do anything. So that is the kind of structure. Many of Fubara's followers, they will defect now to APC. If Fubara will not be defecting in the next couple of days, they will defect. Now, for Fubara to, like I said earlier, it's only legacy he has now to put in the hearts of those in River State. Those who were loyal to him, they will leave him. There will be no political structure anymore that he was trying to build. Everybody will desert him just the way Ambode was deserted in Lagos.
In Lagos State, yeah.
Yes. Everybody deserted him. So when he looked right, left, and center, saw that this fight cannot be won, he just stepped down.
Okay.
Yes, that's the whole thing.
Now, at the beginning of this whole crisis, the president, before he declared the state of emergency in River State, he also came into the picture, like wanted to be the father figure in the whole situation, like a father trying to settle dispute between two sons. Now, he gave some kind of, he kind of made a deal with Fubara, but did not work. That was, I think, in 2023, December 2023, when, Fubara, he called Fubara to the government house in Aso Rock, but that didn't work. So now that there's this return of Fubara back to, because before he came, there were photos, there were videos of Fubara meeting with the president before he came to. So there should have been, there must have been a kind of deal again. Is it the same deal that he tried to broker with him in the first instance that's still in play, or there's another thing entirely?
Now, when you want to take away the powers of a bulldog, you muzzle it.
Yeah.
They felt that Fubara was backing too much, so a state of emergency was declared.
Okay.
Now, he had no choice. Meeting up with the president, I'm very sure it is the same agreement or whatever they talked about before now that they still gave to him.
Okay.
And because of no option, he had no choice now. He will fall back because as at the time he refused, he has state resources, he was the governor, he was everything, even he had advisors. You understand? So at the end of the day, it's the same thing, nothing will change.
Okay. And you think with this one now, with this reconciliation, with this new move, this new deal, it's going to last? There's not going to be a problem till the end of this first term?
No, we know. It's hitting the nail on the head. Nothing will happen again until he finishes. He's going to be loyal till the end. Whatever Wike says, he will dance to it.
Okay.
For problem not to arise again. And it's going to be a shame to his name, with all due respect to Fubara. The people of the state, they need you. The people of Rivers State, they need you more than anything. If he was wise at some point, he would have said, okay, for the peace and development of these people, of my people, if you love them so much, you make sure that this thing doesn't escalate. You will be the first to shoot your soul instead of fighting. So I also blame him too for this thing to have escalated. Because this was just
Mr. Kelechi, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Who is superior, who is not superior. And you know,
I can hear you.
with all due respect, you are a civil servant, you have never been a politician. Somebody brought you in, say, okay, have a feel of this thing. You just pipe load, do whatever you want to do. I'm not supporting corruption, but he would have been wiser.
All right. We've been talking about the political aspects of the crisis that we saw at River State, and of course the legal aspect of the state of emergency that was declared in River State. All that has come and gone. It is now back to civility, civil society as well in River State. Now, thank God you are able to appreciate. We've been talking to executive arms, but we talk to it's time to go to your angle. Let's look at the legislative and the judicial aspect of it. I think we have our guest on Zoom. He is also a media practitioner by the name of Kelechi Okorafor. Kelechi Okorafor, if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
All right, Kelechi.
I can hear you very well. Good morning.
If you can hear us.
I can. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And we've been talking on Fubara, his return to Government House, and of course the return of a political structure or democratical structure in Rivers State. I also have in the studio with me another legal practitioner here, Barrister Festus Momo. We've been discussing. We've touched on the legal aspect of things so far. Of course, the political aspect as well. So I just want to bring you in just to ask a few questions, because I know we're far. Time has really gone that deep.
All right.
I want to get your reaction on this whole return of democratic structure in Rivers State.
Well, it is an anticipated time, both for Nigerians and the people of Rivers State, both residents and indigents of Rivers State. I mean, everyone was literally counting down to the 18th day of September to see what will be the next step of the president, in the declaration of state of emergency, which he did earlier in the year. Personally, I feel it is a necessary move to secure the democracy that we have in the country. Because that move, generally, in the minds of people, sabotaged the hope of a government or an administration that has the capacity to obey the rule of law and the act within the tenets of democratic and constitutional guidance. But thank God we have a legal practitioner there who may also shed light how the Constitution, the position of the Constitution as to the state of emergency. But I would say personally that it is good and timely that at the end of the 6-month declaration by the president that we, or rather the people of Rivers State, are returning under the leadership of a civilian leader as democratically elected.
Okay, we were about to go into the legislative and judicial aspects of this particular story because we've touched so much on the executive arm. I will ask you straight. The State House of Assembly, led by the Speaker, Martin Samahule, he is also set to return or resume with his colleagues in the State House of Assembly. What do you think will happen when the executive and the legislative arm have to work together? I mean, would there be any attempt from the State House of Assembly to impeach the governor? Because that was what was on ground before the president swung into action.
All right. You see, it's going to be an interesting play going forward from here, both from the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. It's going to be an interesting play going forward. I recall hearing the legal practitioner there saying that for you to, I don't know how you put that, you have to muzzle the bulldog, right? Something like that.
To muzzle the bulldog. Yes, that's what he said.
Let us not also forget, that some of the factors that led to the declaration of the state of emergency was the rift between the loyalists of the FCT minister, which is the Fubara's predecessor, Jason Wike, and the governor himself. And Martin Samuel Wille, the Speaker of the House of Assembly of Rivers State, is undoubtedly a loyalist to Wike, and was also the speaker who made the move to impeach Fubara. So moving forward from here, I think I'll agree with your guest there that Fubara will be playing, or rather will be dancing to the tune of the House of Assembly. And which the House of Assembly is already dancing to the tune of the FCT minister. Remember then, Fubara only had 4 loyalists, or rather 4 supporters. And about the Speaker of the House, of the political nature of things in Nigeria and what is obtainable, that Fubara can only dance to what they are saying or what they would say going forward.
All right, thank you so much, Kelechi, for that particular one. I will have to ask my guests in the studio here, because we're out of time, but I just want to see if we can get some very vital questions answered. The Supreme Court had previously dismissed Governor Fubara's appeal on the budget. What effect will the court's earlier rulings have on this new administration, Barrister Festus?
Well, the effect it will have is that he will present the budgets again before the House, and because it's the apex court that ruled against it. Whatever we feel about it doesn't matter. The apex court said the members, as it were, not enough to have passed this budget. So because of that, we are setting aside what
nullity from the beginning. It's null and void. So now he will represent whatever the budget, whatever he wants to bring to the House again. In fact, before he came in, the
27 members, the House of Assembly of the State, they've been telling him that he has to come back and present these things before them again. That's what we've been hearing, and he has to do it. He must. Otherwise, the crisis will erupt again of the impeachment proceedings. And now, if they start a proceedings against him, they are going to succeed 100% because they know that whatever it may be, the Supreme Court will be on their side. Any court
be on their side. Even the judge that wants to do good, because of the body language of whatever has happened, want to play to the dictates of the Supreme Court. So either ways, Fubara must align with the State House of Assembly to get results. We have to go back.
All right, Kelechi, are you there with us?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, what's your take on that particular question I asked? Or did you get the question?
Concerning the appropriation bill of the states before and after the state of emergency.
Yes.
Well, one of the things, on Thursday, when the House convened, one of the first things that they looked at was asking Fubara to represent the bill, the appropriation bill, which was part of the issues that, they are part of the rift before the state of emergency was declared. Now, that will tell you how significant that is on the minds of those who wanted to impeach Fubara. Now, he had taken this house that was suspended about 6 months to think about what would be the priority, what would make it up to the scale of preference when we reconvene. Should the president go ahead and say the state of emergency has ended in 6 months, which he has? That will tell you the level of importance that this holds in the hearts of these lawmakers. Now, for Fubara, whatever be the reason why the House rejected the previous bill, he will have to make amendments and try to get them on his side, which undoubtedly you have to take some concessions. So if I think he's at crossroads now, either to choose the welfare of the people of Rivers State along with the possible restoration of whatever be left of his political career, or to play the boss role, which so far hasn't gotten him anywhere. So for me, I would say Fubara would have to take some, obvious concessions if he intends to take care of the people of Rivers State, as well as make a move at restoring whatever be left of his political career.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelechi Okora, on that particular one. Like I said, we are really, really down in terms of time spent. I will have to ask just one more question before I conclude on this segment. We are all looking towards 2027 now, the elections coming up.
Yes.
How will the recent political dynamics and power struggles and tussles, that we've seen in Rivers State, how will it now shape in?
Well, for anybody who is aware and conscious and has been monitoring the power dynamics, political power dynamics in Rivers State, such an individual would agree with me that Rivers State is undoubtedly an APC state. As a matter of fact, it is my opinion that for Fubara to, like I mentioned before...
Hold on. You just said something now. That
yes.
With the way things have gone, it
yes.
can be said that Rivers State is now APC state. Is that what you're saying?
Unarguably, that's what I said.
Oh my goodness. Now, okay.
All right. For clarity's sake, the upon assumption of office of the sole administrator, talking about Ibokete Ibas, he dissolved the local government chairman, boards of agencies, and put some sole administrators, other sole administrators at the local government level in place.
As it were. That's how it should be anyway.
Yes. Yes. Now, that is not an issue. I mean, that is what is expected. All right. Then the Rivers State Electoral Commission, Independent Electoral Commission, the RCEC, chairman was also appointed, Michael Ode, by the sole administrator. Now, these are all contentions which some persons or civil society organizations took to court about the legality and all that, but that is not my field. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, Michael Ode, who was an appointee of the sole administrator, conducted Rivers State just about 18 18 days to the expiration of the 6 months state
rule.
of emergency
Emergency
declaration.
rule.
Yes, just 18 days to the end. The local government elections were conducted with high level of voter apathy, and which saw the APC win about 20 local government areas and PDP 3. Now, unless those that election is nullified, and maybe under Fubara another election is conducted, that has given the APC enough power at the grassroots.
I understand. Now I understand you.
Now that is where where I'm drawing the information from. Talking about APC, Rivers State being an APC state. Now,
okay.
And for Fubara to recover or preserve what is left of a political career, any politician would simply swallow his pride and cross over to APC. And that is imminent for Fubara. Maximum 6 months. He will move over to APC if he has any bid at coming back in 2027.
Okay.
Because it is also the administration of the sole administrator that appointed a boss of agencies again. So there's a lot. If you understand how these things work, there's a lot that you have to either restructure or align with.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Kelechi Okorako, a media practitioner.
It's a pleasure.
There, giving us his own take on what's going on in Rivers State. I still have my guests right here in the studio, Barrister Festus Momo. Thank you for being patient with us right here. Just had to speak with Kelechi via Zoom. Well, I asked him a question. I think this is where we're going to round up now. Just talk to us about 2027. I know you initially you talked about it, and like what Kelechi said, from all indications and from his own calculations, Rivers State is an APC state because of what Ibas did before he left. The local government chairman that we have there now, I think more than 60–70% of them are APC members. So what's your take looking ahead, going forward, 2027? What do you see? How do you see the political landscape in Rivers State?
This is audible to the deaf and visible to the blind. That Rivers State now is captured for APC. I talked about state capture at the beginning. That was why the state of emergency was extended to 6 months. Even when Fubara fulfilled the threshold of 19 days to conduct local government elections, that has been set aside by the court. And now, the one Ibas conducted under an illegitimate rule in quotes is the one that suffices. So what they are doing now is Fubara continue to remain in PDP like your master Wiki, and see how you can scuttle the efforts of the PDP and make APC gain. Now we have Delta State, we have Edo State, we have Rivers State, we have which other states now in the South region?
There's Cross River. There's
Cross River.
There's Akwa Ibom.
Yeah. Now, so all these states, they are for APC already. Whether you like it or not, if you don't play ball, INEC will play the ball for you.
So unfortunate.
Now, before this time, 2027, I was not thinking of it. I remember I used to be an advocate of go get your PVC. Everybody knows that.
So what do you advocate for now?
They'll say, no, I'm coming. They'll say, no, our votes don't count. Say, come on, if your votes don't count, politicians will be gunning and aiming at your PVC. It counts. Go get your PVC. I will travel from here to Edo State. I will go cast my vote. I will come back. it is my transport, it is my energy, it is my time. But at the end of the day, INEC will rubbish everything. Now, he kept on campaigning, Yakubu kept on campaigning that he would transmit results in real time. And we believed him, not looking at the law. The law also empowers him to compute it manually. We did not look at those things. So we were everywhere. Movements came and said we're going to change the government. And at the end of the day, they changed it for us, according to the local parlance. They changed everything. So since then, I've been reserved. I've not dabbled into politics again. Whatever they do, I just say, okay. When they are tired, they stop. But let me have my existence. Let us continue to live. My pain is where I come from. Because I see people pointing accusing fingers at me, say, no, now be the problem. Let me use that word. Say, you are the problem. I say, I'm not the problem. Say, but you are a lawyer. You are a lawyer. You are the problem. So the fear now is when the people get tired and they want to trash the problem of the political landscape, they may likely come after us.
All right. I think that's where we'll drop the curtains for today's first segment. And of course, we've been discussing with Barrister Festus Momo Esquire. He's a legal practitioner. Thank you so much for your insight and, of course, your contribution to the program today. I enjoyed your input on this particular one.
I'm grateful.
And not forgetting, although he joined us later in the show, a media practitioner talking about Kelechi Okorafor. And we'll be having a short break from now, and we'll switch over to our next talking point, which I told you earlier on that we have two segments. The first segment is on politics, as it were, in Rivers State. And then we'll talk about the fire incident that occurred in Lagos a few days ago, and promises to be very interesting discussion as well. Once again, thank you so much, Barrister Festus, for coming through. We'll go on a short break, and we'll be back. Don't go nowhere.
Hallelujah. Yes, Lord, we thank you because you are alive. And because you live, we live. Thank you, Jesus. Casting down my crowns before the living God. Casting down my crowns before the living God. I'm pouring out my own before the Holy One. I'm pouring out my own before the Holy One. Now I need you to just raise your hand and worship the King of Glory. Our God is great and greatly to be praised. There is none like him. Yes, our God is great. Thank you, Jesus. I'm casting down my crown, pouring out my own. I'm pouring out my own. I say you are the living God. Yes, you are the living God. Yahweh, the living God. Yes, Yahweh, the living God. Sing you are. Yes, you are. You are the living God. Think you are Yahweh. Sing Yahweh. I need you to lift it. Sing you are the living You are the living God. 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 Yahweh, the living God. Yahweh, the living God. Yahweh, the living God. Laying down my crowns. Laying down my fears. I don't have anyone but you, Lord. I'm laying down my doubts. I'm pouring out my own before everyone. Can we raise it? Just the voices. You are, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I need you to raise it. You are the living God. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
All right, welcome to the second segment, like I told you earlier on the TVM Express. I still remain yours, Fredericton O'Neill, and I have my guest in the studio as well. I told you we'll be having a guest on the second segment as well. His name is Frederick Momo, who is an engineer. Good morning, engineer. Welcome.
Good morning to you too, Mr. Fred. It's nice being here.
Okay. Quickly, we will be looking at fire incidents in Nigeria. The topic for today, by the way, the second segment is incidents response in Nigeria, emergency response in Nigeria. That's what we are looking at. We want to take our case study from the fire incident that occurred a couple of days ago in Lagos. A couple of places we saw what happened, you know, and there's been different, you know, information coming in as regards how people responded, you know, towards the call for emergency evacuation and all that. Such a sad note that some lives were lost in some of one of the properties right there. Engineer, you are into this particular matter as an engineer who knows his onions when it comes to safety. I'll be asking you some questions right there. I'm looking at the footage, video footage of one of the incidents that happened in Lagos. It was such a horrifying scene, as it were. Fire outbreak, like they said, according to the source we have, the news we're having, one of them coming in from the basement where they have the inverter stored, and there was some kind of electrical fault right there. I can also look back to 2021, something that happened some time ago that I was also a witness to. The same inverter issue, talking about this solar system issue, where there was electrical fault and it resulted in almost a complete fire raising the building, as it were, that year 2021. I still have that in my mind. Let me ask you from the on-go, because time is not our friend today, how would you describe the current state of incident response in Nigeria? Like I said, there are counterclaims here and there, especially with the one that happened in Lagos. Let me just say one or two, maybe a minute, about the 2021 own fire incident. I said I talked about. A call was placed through to the firefighters, the fire service in the city, and it took them There were about 3 of them in the town, in the city. It took them more than 2 hours to get to the venue, and that was why the building got completely burnt. Nothing was rescued from it. So, what's your take on this issue of response when it comes to emergency situation in Nigeria?
I can just only figure out one thing that is really a serious issue. There are layers of bureaucracy when it comes to issues like fire response in Nigeria. I don't know the kind of democracy.
Bureaucracy. Sorry to say.
Okay.
I want to ask this. First off, do we have? I know we have government fire responders. Yeah. Do we have private responders?
Yes, we are supposed.
The reason why I asked that question is because you said there's bureaucracy. So we know in government circle this bureaucracy thing, thrives so much.
It's a problem.
Does it also happen in private setting as well?
Yeah, but because it does to an extent, although these private sectors don't really set up their tools properly. In most cases, they tend to wait for the government. Yes. So in the time of waiting for the government, there are layers of leadership before, and fires don't wait.
Yeah, of course.
Fires don't wait, and before it
as long as there's oxygen.
Exactly, and before it gets to the person that will take the final the decision, the building is burnt. So I think we need to fix the issue of bureaucracy and then encourage the private sectors to have their own fire service. Government can usually come as an oversight. Yeah, I think that is going to work for a democratic system like Nigeria.
Okay. I remember back in the day, in the city of Warri and environs, when SPDC, as is known, Shell, back then, they had their own fire responders.
Yeah.
And they were very, very important to the city as back then, because we had so many fire incidents in that town, especially in the market. So these were the guys, especially from the SPDC angle, were the guys who responded swiftly when they got the information. So I think I want to buy the idea of what you're saying, that private hands have to come in into that to save.
That's the way forward, because when I saw that footage, I was pondering on it. I was like, what really could have caused the slow response? Because at the end of the day, nobody got burnt. People died through panic and due to inhaling of carbon and its variants.
Like the 2 incidents from Lagos, for instance. One was, I think, in the afternoon.
Exactly.
And the other was in the evening. I think in the night, where you don't have most of the people in the business place anymore. So I'm just wondering, the one that should have been very, very easy to respond to, which do you think would have been?
The one that happened at
which is the one at the
the one that happened in the afternoon.
Okay, so what are the most common types of incidents Nigerian organizations, they face today that needs this respondents? We have cyber attacks. Yeah. We have natural disasters. Not really much here in Nigeria anyway. Not much. Like I didn't say there is no, not much in Nigeria. And then we'll talk about infrastructure failures as well.
Yeah, for the natural disasters, I don't think the thing we see as natural disaster here in Nigeria, it's just a failure on the part of government. Like the case that happened in Ekpoma recently, where a flood swept away a biker. As of 2 days back, they started constructing gutters in the area. This culture of, if it has not happened, we will not find solutions, needs to stop.
But even at that, the solutions that they give, for instance, if I take your example, construction of those drainages, the drainages, they don't even work well. So when the flood come again, we still have
it's going to wash them off. It's just a show of, like, okay, now we want to work. But I think moving forward, there should be a permanent plan to this issue before it happens. And for the tower that got burnt, somebody has to pay for that, because I can't believe that a building like that will not have CCTV cameras that will detect smoke. They should have an active...
Do you think it's sabotage?
I don't... Accidents can happen, like the issue you raised. It happened where they have their inverters and all that. Fine, it can happen. There can be a short circuit of wires and all that. Although that's another area that shouldn't have happened. It's not supposed to be a common thing. Okay. That shouldn't have happened. I'll come to that later. But the smoke traveled, according to them, it started from the bottom floor. If the smoke could travel, there was no CCTV footage to capture. It means they had in that building as a whole, they had no active security room. But somebody has to pay for that, which is very bad. That accident that happened in Lagos, in that tower, should have been completely avoided. And with the reports I'm seeing online, I'm seeing 10 people have lost their lives and still counting. That is really sad.
Really sad. Really sad. All right, let's look at it from both the public and the private sector. You know, what's your take on, you know, these sectors now, the private and public? What's your take on their response to incidents like this? Could be fire, could be motor accidents. You know, we've seen situations where we have motor accident, for instance. You see guys on the ground dying.
Yeah.
People are recording with their phone and sending to social media. What's your take on this?
I think fear is also part of the situation, because I've had issues where people rush people to hospitals and then you are being detained. Although that's not supposed to be a yardstick. There should be ambulances around to be able to do that. When you have a situation like that, who do you call? That's another issue we have in this country. You have no response numbers to call.
No, but there are response numbers.
They are not being properly
yes, that's the thing.
Put out there.
No,
for the public.
There are response numbers, but the problem we are having, which I have encountered severally, is when you call the numbers, either they are slow to respond to you, or it's not even connected.
Exactly. And then people just gives up.
So let's forget about trying to get them. You know, what about you? That is because we saw from the video. Yeah. Later in the video, we saw how some persons around, before the public or the private responders will come in terms of organizations now, there were individuals there that, you know, came together and said, let's try and see if we can rescue anybody. It got to a point where they had to bring something like a pillow from one of the offices.
One of the offices, yes, yeah. I saw that too.
You know, so I think more has to be done there. Anyway, let's move on. You talked about, earlier on you mentioned something about government's policy and all that. Well, what frameworks or national policies currently guide incident response in Nigeria? Do we have any guideline, any policy to that regard?
Yes, we have lots of agencies on ground. We have more agencies on ground. My main issue with them is just the putting it in play. I don't know why they don't respond on time. We have lots of them. But
do you think they are sufficient? The laws and regulations on this, do you think they are sufficient enough?
I think Nigeria is having a very a problem of application of these laws.
Okay, the application is the issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if you read through some laws, there are some things you don't even know exist in Nigeria, because nobody has really brought this thing to you, like, you have broken this law. There are some laws we have broken, we don't even know. They are just there. Nobody enforces them. Like this incident that happened now, the government was supposed to hold somebody responsible.
Definitely.
But
For
you will not,
accountability.
for
Definitely.
years,
Definitely.
but you will not see anything like that. That's our major issue. The communication between the private sector and the government when it comes to issues of cyber security, the gap, the lag is just too much. So if we can bridge these gaps, if we can communicate better, I think there will be these agencies and these parastatals will be able to work better.
Talking about parastatals and agencies, during the fire incident or after the fire incident, one of the agencies, talking about NEMA, came talking, okay? We have other agencies and parastatals as well who are supposed to be responders, you know, for the Nigerian government, as it were. How well do such agencies coordinate during, you know, the incidents? How do they coordinate? How well do they coordinate them among themselves?
I think it still boils down to the issue of communication. Although there is low funding, although there is funding, let me not
don't say low funding.
Let me not delve into.
There is funding.
There is funding, but to channel this funding to the right places where it really needs to work, that is where the issue is. There is funding because we see the budget every year, and when you see shortcomings like this is why when we raise an alarm, they say we are becoming alarmist, because we see this funding and we don't see the result. We see the input, we don't see the output. Yeah. So there should be an openness to how these resources are being managed, because this department is very delicate, because incidents don't wait. They don't wait. So there should be funding available for you to take off immediately. The moment the issue gets to your table, you should be on ground within the stipulated time.
Okay. Now let's dive into, you know, technology and the capacity for this technology to thrive. Before I go to Lagos State, where we are using as a case study, there was a time a former governor of Edo State, before Okwebolo entered now, Obaseki, there was a video, an editorial video, as it were, you know, where he walked into a facility where we have security personnel everywhere in front of computer, and they say they have cameras fixed in some places in the main city. So for anything to happen, these people can be, they are the ones that will respond, that will react, or, you know, respond to activities like that. We have seen in Lagos. All right, this is technology I'm looking at now, because from that facility, that's technology at its best. I saw that video on Edo State. I don't know if it's still working anyway. But what role does, you know, technology play in improving incident, you know, detection and of course response? Because I just gave an instance now, and in Lagos we have some of these CCTV camera fixed in some places. Exactly. So when things happen, they are supposed to know. Those in that facility are supposed to know, and, you know, get in touch with NEMA and what have you.
Okay, I will also cite the situation, a very terrible experience, I must say.
Okay.
A person of mine had an issue with a bank ATM stand.
Okay.
She was robbed at that stand. So the next day we went to the bank to tell them we need the CCTV footage to be able to take to the... I think the person in the bank told me, you know, they walk off.
Oh.
Yeah. So that investigation died. We
I'm not sure it's not working. Maybe they needed proper documentation.
From the bank?
No.
From the police station? Yes. From police. The day they should have told us. It was as if telling us that it's not working, we just blow us off. And then we say, okay, this...
Now, I know it's a little... but no, it's part of the discussion.
Exactly.
But do you know that when you... Because these are some of the information that we have, that we know. When you go to the bank and you you get this kind of response, you go to the police and file a report, to get a report as well, and take it to the bank.
To them.
They will respond. There is no bank. If the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, hears about this,
it's going to be an issue.
Yes.
But because of the police squabbles, bank squabbles and all that, it discourages us.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
It discourages
Another
us.
bottleneck.
Exactly. Because on trying to solve these issues, you have to. I don't want to bring this out in the open. You have to go through tables. Let me put it like
No, but
like that.
But that's how it is in Nigeria. That's how some things work in Nigeria. Unfortunately, anyway.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
So back to your question, I feel the cameras might be there. They are supposed to be there. They are supposed to be effective. For a building like that that we are using as a case study, like I said before, there's supposed to be an active security room.
Yeah.
Because there are financial institutions in that building. I think about 3 or so. I think there is UBA, there is another bank, and there is a government department in that building.
Yeah, yeah.
So there should be, it is a money building.
FIRS or FIRS.
Yeah, so there should be an active security room to checkmate everything. That issue would have been solved. But I don't think these, cameras are being monitored, or they are just installed there for spectacle.
They are monitored. If you go and steal any of their property,
exactly, that's when you know.
That
because a friend of mine was called up one day that you beat traffic. Your video is here.
Okay.
I said, so those cameras work?
They do.
But when it comes to real usage, when it's going to really affect the common man, that is where the bottleneck is.
That's where my next question will come in now. You know? That's when the next question will come in, because it has to do with training. You're talking about individuals, like you just said now, you were told that you beat traffic, and you were surprised. You were not like, so these things are working. But when you need those things for proper usage, you don't get it.
They don't get it.
So my question now is, how do these organizations that have these equipment, I cited that of Edo State and that of Lagos as well. How do they, what is their input in training? Is it enough training their staffs about responding to incidents like this?
Yeah, that is
because earlier on you talked about funds but not going to the right places. Could it be part of it?
That's true. That's true, because you need experts to be able to take decisions on these things. And again, in some of our society, there is this, this is not supposed to be a yardstick. If you are employed to do a job, you are supposed to do it to the latter. There is this, is my friend let him go syndrome amongst Africans as a whole.
Very common in Nigeria anyway.
Very common in Nigeria. And it's really plaguing us. We are all, I think I can boldly say we are all complicit in this case. You don't, even if you employ the right hands, it's going to probably spare his brother when his brother errs, which is not right. I think we need training, serious training, and overhaul of all sectors in Nigeria to be able to function well in this security regard.
All right, in case you just joined us, this is TVM Express on Saturday, as today's 20th day in the month of September 2025. And this is the second segment, the last lap on the TVM Express today. And we are discussing the incident response in Nigeria, emergency response in Nigeria. And we have in the studio right here, Engineer Frederick Momo. So good to have him here, talking about some of the things about response, emergency response in Nigeria. Let's look at the challenges facing responders, incident responders. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing incident response in Nigeria today? I know we talked about the funding.
Yes.
Initially, you said not enough funding. Before you now said no, there's funding, but
funding.
it's not getting to
Right.
Is it funding? Is it infrastructure? Is it coordination? Or is it the awareness? Which of them? Or is it all of them?
Exactly. All of the
All
above.
of the above.
There is an issue of coordination.
Yeah.
There is a big issue of awareness, because, okay, let's say with that building, I will always go back to that building as a case study. I don't think a building like that will not have an emergency exit. I don't think that exit was being used effectively. Because I saw people jumping through the windows. Yeah, because emergency exit always leads directly outside the building.
There's supposed to be mustering points, but in this kind of situation,
Panic.
Would you have mustering points in this kind of situation?
So I
because at that point, you talked about awareness. Let me allow you to continue before I give you my own part of
because
this whole thing.
if people are aware, in every floor there is supposed to be a security personnel to calm people down.
Especially in this kind of building.
In this kind of building.
Case study, okay.
In a case study like this, because there are like the fire outbreak in the market. I can't really say this about that, and that even happened in the night. So that's just another the same fire, but another scenario. But in this particular case, at every floor level, there should be a security personnel, a safety personnel. The companies you once cited, the reason why they are that effective is because they have these things in play. But we here in Africa, if it is an African, a Nigerian setting, we just, as long as it doesn't happen in the next 5-10 years, it becomes obsolete. That space is discarded. If there was a person like that, he has gone through training, he was supposed to say, be calm. But he was supposed to tell them what to do. What I was seeing online is people trying to help themselves. So there was panic, and when there is panic, it's panic that causes stampede. When there is panic, when it comes to situations like this, there is sure going to be death too. So there should be awareness, there should be communication, there should be proper training, there should be personnel on ground to solve this issue. It might not happen in the next 2 years, but there should be people on ground in case it happens.
Yeah, just to add to that, talking about training them, initially we talked about that one, how to train these people, and you just brought the angle of awareness.
Yeah.
I think most of these enterprise or firm, as it were, should be able to teach or get their staff to be aware about this. I talked earlier on about mustering points, where if there's any emergency, there's a place everyone has to run to first. And you also talked about the exit, So this awareness, do these firms, these organizations, especially in the case study in that building, do these firms have safety personnel? Because that's the job of a safety personnel.
Exactly.
Do they have safety personnel in these firms? Back in the day where I worked, we had this safety personnel. Before you resume office, before you resume your work, you must go through that exercise. They must tell you these are the things you should observe, and what have you. But from all indications, you can see that the only exit point there is through the window.
Through the window.
And that's not a good exit point.
It is not.
At all. So corruption and bureaucracy, we talked about this earlier on, where you said people, the money that is supposed to go to somewhere will not get there.
Will not get
It's
there.
not like it's not funded. It's not like it's underfunded. The money is always there, but does it get there? But how can we overcome bureaucracy and corruption in all of this?
There are some, because when I was, when this thing happened, I was checking some agencies that were supposed to respond to this. I realized there are so many agencies in Nigeria that are doing the same thing. Doing the same thing in the sense that these agencies can be brought together. Then internet can be brought in to help them do things effectively instead of doing things manually. Yes, I think they have to. I don't know if the Nigerian system allows this. I think there should be a more what you likely said, what you said in case of the former governor of Edo State, where he set up internet facilities to monitor these things. This should be the order of the day. This should be the order of the day. Then artificial intelligence should also come in play to be able to assist with these things. I think it's going to checkmate to a large extent these bureaucratic issues we have on ground. Okay. So I think we as a country should invest more in artificial intelligence, because at the end of the day we cannot fight it. That's the order of the day now. So that all the pointers of economic development, it's going towards that angle. We should catch up on time and then help ourselves in matters like this.
Okay, when you want to compare, incident response between Nigeria and the rest part of Africa, I don't want to go to the world.
Exactly.
to the rest part of Africa. How would you rate, Nigerians? That is, if you have statistics about fire, incident response from other parts of Africa.
Well, we don't see much of their news online like the way people see much of our news.
Or at least I know of South Africa. I know of Egypt.
Kenya.
I know of Morocco.
Okay.
Their response is swift.
It's I think in West Africa.
Okay.
Let me just pick a region.
Okay.
I think there is no much difference. But when you begin to move towards that, the Eastern Africans and southern part of Africa, I think they are more, will I say, developed in areas like this. They are more aware. They invest more in value of life than what we do here in the West. So I think their responses is quite better than ours when it comes to the western part of Africa.
All right, we have very few minutes to go before we round up today, but I would not go on without talking about collaborations between the private and public sector. How important is public-private collaboration? How important is this in responding to crises like that from attacks from cyber attacks on banks? We have also cyber attacks on telecoms. We've seen that happen, or even on critical infrastructure. How important is this collaboration between private and public sector on this?
Yeah, it's very important, because it's going to help bridge the gap between government intervening and actually solving the issue. Because there should be communication, there should be proper sensitization. So the private sector and the public sector, let me put it like that, needs to work hand in hand. Because at the end of it, I think the private sector needs to do more. Because I'll keep saying this, government should act more as task force or an oversight. So it is easier to probe what you are not part of. Let me put it like you cannot probe within you. When you set standards for this, you give them room to get themselves involved in some security matters, and they are not doing it, then you can probe. When you leave everything under your corridors and it fails, it's just like the war in Troy. You bring the fight to our doorstep. We settle it outside. We fight outside. So when government does these things and it fails, they can't really probe because it is within them. But if they leave it in the hands of the private sectors and it fails, there is an avenue to probe. There is an avenue to correct well without exposing your frails. So I think it is very important they actually work together, leave a chunk of the work for the private sector while they act as an oversight or a task force to these security challenges.
All right, we're getting closer to the end of the program today, but we just want to ask our engineer in the house for some of his input into giving advice to responders out there. I have a couple of questions quickly, and if you can briefly, what reforms or innovations would you recommend to strengthen Nigeria's incident response capacity? You know, what advice will you give in terms of recommending, you know, to the Nigerian government?
There should be proper selection of individuals in play in terms of capacity and knowledge. There should be CCTV footages, cameras in strategic locations. I don't know if we have gotten to that point in terms of our industrialization, but Lagos, for instance, should be able to do that without any issue. And there should be, I have been thinking about this in terms of the security challenge in the country as a whole. I don't know if the government have thought about this. I know they must have thought about it. There should be security towers. If we can do the marks all over the places, we can also do that. There should be security towers to know when it comes to kidnappings and terrorism. Security towers is supposed to
even armed robbery cases.
Armed robbery cases. You will know where this thing is in play. You know where they are going to go next. There should be security towers to be able to, cameras, to be able to cover a wide area of place. At least you know where these people have carried out their activities. You know where they are headed to next. I don't know why they've not thought about this. This will really reduce the issue of blind search, because the issue facing our country in terms of security is an issue of blind search. You see something happen here, and then you tell your security personnel to go into the bush. You don't even know where they are headed. You don't know how far these people have gone. So if there are security towers, put CCTV in strategic positions in jungles and bushes to be able to cover a wide areas. You should be able to see where they are headed. You should be able to know when to tackle and where they will go to next. You should you will be able to know when they even want to attack. Even before the deed is done, you are already at the place. And another thing is proper funding. If you have funded an organization, you should be able to monitor. We have a problem of accountability.
That's the word. That's it.
We have a problem of accountability.
Okay. All right. On the last note, I cannot close the show without asking you as an engineer, briefly, if you can, in one sentence or in two sentences. Let me make it in two sentences. As an engineer, the case study that we had today, the fire incident in one of the places in Lagos, they're talking about that tower especially. We heard that it was as a result of a failure from the solar system, as it were, the inverter. Yeah. As an engineer, what would you advise?
Okay, that's a very good point.
I must say 2 minutes, no issue.
Yes, exactly. If we want to talk about this thing, 2 minutes, but I'll try to be brief about it.
Yeah, please.
Because most banks, most establishments, they use tubular batteries. So, and it is prone to maintenance, and people don't take this into consideration. When you install tubular batteries, and these organizations have a way of doing it, they don't. It looks really shabby. I've been to a bank and I looked at where they are set up. I just shook my head. I said, "This is a time bomb." There will be over time, because it depletes over time. So there will be an issue of short circuit. There is an issue of corrosion. Is going to heat up the battery terminals. When they charge, they are going to expand over time. So you should be able to aerate the environment, allow air to pass through the environment. Don't put it in one corner because you don't want people to see it. Find a room for it that air can pass through it. Else it's going to heat up and it's going to get burnt. So there should be an issue of do not let it short circuit. Don't place metals around it. Then you should be able to use the right wires. Okay. This issue is wide. If I say I should start talking about it, it's going. But anyway, in a nutshell, you should be able to give your projects to professionals. This is not an issue where you say, my brother does this, let me use it to encourage him. Encourage your brother with something else.
Okay.
Give this deals to professionals to help you to handle and manage.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Engineer Frederick Momo, who is the engineer in the house, helping us to break down some of the things we need to know, as it were, as relating to fire response, whatever response that we need in the society. Once again, I want to say thank you very much for watching us on the program today, TVM Express, where we talked about the return of Fubara to the government house. And of course, we've seen him starting off. Good one or bad one, or however it is, we know that the people of Rivers State are happy to see their elected governor back in office. And with the sad note that we saw during the week, about 10 deaths reported so far from the fire incident in the tower in Lagos, we were here discussing how to prevent some of these things and how we can respond when the need arises. Once again, thank you for watching. Keep watching TVM.
This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM.